Yo, 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 yo. What's going on, my fantastic family and friends? It is your boy, Mr. Dominique, aka the Scorpio King, baby, back at you with another episode of Dom's World. Bow. You know, because you got your world and I got mine. So this morning, this lovely morning, what are we chopping up? What are we chopping up? Because we always chopping up something, right, family? I always got something on that chopping board. What are we going to deep dive into this morning? Well, let's talk about addiction. Let's chop addiction. And I'm going to use the word addiction because that can apply to so many things. So whatever your addiction may be, I'm talking to you. All right. Now, this particular subject is also addressing a subject that one of the family members asked me to talk about. So I want to make sure if that family member is listening, I want to make sure that you understand that this video is most definitely for you, sir. So you asked me to talk about women and porn, which is pretty much I'm assuming it was like a problem for you, the way you addressed it to me, like your kryptonite is women and porn. And that's a kryptonite for the average man, the average heterosexual man. All right. Women in porn is just our weak spot. Okay. But I'm going to address this issue as addiction because I felt like if I addressed it as just women in porn, then the video would be made to men. And I feel like there are also women who suffer from the same sort of addiction, but instead of women, it would be men. And then, of course, there's porn. All right. So I just figure I don't want to leave anybody out when it comes to addiction. So to be honest with you, family, to really understand this right here, this subject was probably the first subject I should have addressed. Because he was one of the first people to put in the comments, could you talk about this? But it was such a heavy subject that timing is everything. And I just never found the right time to talk about that subject. Now, if you've been following me, you've been listening to me for a while, a couple of days ago, I was prepared to do this subject then. And I had left my notebook at home. And so I ended up doing a subject about how you make a difference. Divine timing, it was perfect. A lot of you all really loved that video, so I think it worked out the way it was supposed to. But now here I am today with this video now because it worked out the way it was supposed to. Because I kept trying to address it in my mind as women in porn. But it never felt comfortable because I felt like I was leaving out somebody. I was leaving out the women, being able to talk to them about their addiction to men. And so I see why it took me so long, because the answer hadn't become clear to me yet on how to address this subject until now, when I was like, okay, it's time to do this content, going to get this over with and do it. And it became clear as day to me that I need to address this as addiction. So family member, I want you to know that this was definitely for you. Your addiction could be women in porn, and anybody else, any other man who suffers from women in porn. And then this is for anybody who suffers of addiction in any sort, whether it be women, whether it be porn, whether it be men, whether it be food, whether it be drugs, whether it be gambling, whether it be hanging out around people knowing that they're no good for you, but you just can't be alone. So you're just addicted to being around people, whether they're good for you or not. So any sort of addiction at all, if you suffer from any addiction, this one's for you. Okay? Chop, chop. Now, I could have easily did some notes with this one, but it's a rainy day out here. You can't really hear it right now, but I came out here right when it had started to slow down. It's still sprinkling right now. So maybe while I'm out here before I end this video, you can hear some rain coming down harder. But when it's raining, I'm a rain lover. I'm a pluviophile. I love the rain. I feel connected to the rain when it's raining. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this without the notes. I don't think I need the notes with this one. I think I'm going to just speak from the heart about addiction. Now, listen, family. Speaking from the heart, all right? Addiction is when something becomes a problem for you, okay? Because you can, when you're addicted to something, when you're addicted to it, that's when it becomes a problem. You can like food, You can like food. We all like food. But when you become addicted to food, which means you can't stop eating, you just want to eat every time you get bored, you want to eat. You don't know what to do, you want to eat. You get hungry, you eat 2 times more than anybody else. You're addicted. It becomes a problem. You may like to have sex, but when you become addicted to having sex, it becomes a problem because you can't go without it. You know what I mean? So when you find yourself in a position to where you can't go without something, and it becomes a problem because you feel the urge to have it. You feel you need it. All right. You know, a need is something strong. And when we need something, it takes top priority. I always talk about this. Our needs are way more important than our wants. What's a necessity has to be dealt with. What's a want can be put on hold. You can be more patient. And sometimes when something's a necessity in your mind, then that can be a problem. Listen, food, water, air is a necessity, right? We need that. It's a necessity. Paying your bills, that's a necessity. If you have a house, you better pay those bills. They take top priority. That's a necessity. You don't pay the bills, then you go without. You don't pay the light bill, it goes dark. You don't pay the water bill, you don't have water. You feel me? You don't pay your rent, you have no place to stay. That's a necessity. What you want, a new pair of shoes, a new purse, a new car, a newer house, that's just a want. You could take it, be more patient. You'll get it when the time is right. That's just a want. It's not a necessity. So when things that aren't healthy for us become a necessity, it can become really dangerous to our health and our well-being. When something like sex and porn and drugs and alcohol and gambling become a necessity, that's something that you're telling yourself you need and you can't go without. And it's not necessarily something that's good for you that you're telling yourself you can't go without. Gambling has become such an issue for some people that they have to call the boat and say, listen, I need you to ban me from the boat. There are people who have to be banned from gambling. Are you kidding me? I've never had a gambling problem. My problem is I'm afraid to lose my money. I work too hard for my little bit of money I got, and I'm going to go out there and gamble it away, and I have nothing to show for it. I get it. When you win, you win. But when you lose, Jesus Christ, you lose. All right. So, when you can't go without gambling, when you got the light bill money in your hand and you say, you know what, I'm going to go head over here to this boat and try to double this. You're addicted. Instead of paying that light bill, you want to go over there to the boat. You're addicted. Instead of paying that water bill, you want to go buy those drugs. You're addicted. Instead of going home to your wife and your family, you out there in those streets, in those strip clubs and dealing with those prostitutes and sleeping around, you're addicted. And when you're addicted to something, it becomes a problem. It puts a dark cloud over you, man. You want to have something over you, have a halo over you, baby boy, baby girl. If you're going to have something over you, let it be a halo. At least that's a good thing to have over you. If you ain't got a halo over you, you don't want nothing hanging over you at all. Think about that. When somebody got something hanging over you, or when you got something hanging over you, is it ever good? Not really. But if you got a halo over you, that's a good thing, baby. That's what you want hanging over you. You don't want this dark cloud hanging over you. This dark reputation of addiction. Stay away from addiction. We all need hobbies. We all have habits. And yes, we all have addictions. But you don't want your addiction to be bad for you. You don't want your addiction to work against you. You want to be addicted to something, find something positive to be addicted to. Be addicted to getting up early in the morning and getting out here and chasing this paper. You're addicted to chasing this paper. You're addicted to chasing the bag. That's something that's a positive addiction. You hear people, oh shit, I'm a money chaser. Okay, fine. That's a good thing to be addicted to. I'd rather hear you be a money chaser than a cocaine heroin chaser, a skirt chaser. When you chase women, all right, or when you chase men, you chase after the thrill. All right, okay, hold up. So, because I guess I need to give you an example real quick. When I was a bachelor, when I was young in my 20s, living on my own and living it up like a true bachelor, I was addicted to sleeping with women. Yes, no doubt that no different than anybody else who's young and single and free to do what they want to do. I was addicted, man. I wasn't just single for that because I could be single. I was addicted to sleeping with different women. In my mind, back then, I was telling myself, "Ooh, different woman, different sex. Different woman, different sex, different experience." And now that I look back at it, I realize it might have been a different woman, but I was attracted to the same type of woman. I was meeting the same type of woman in the same environment, whether it had been the clubs or in bars or in parties. I was meeting the same type of woman. And we get so caught up in thinking that sex is so spectacular that, oh, it's a different woman, it's different sex. Really, it's, sex is sex, family. It's either good or it's bad. It's either enjoyable or it's not, to be honest with you. And I'm sitting up here, spreading myself around, sleeping with all these different women, thinking I'm a player, thinking I'm living it up. And I'm just taking pieces of my light and my energy and leaving them all over the place. And every time I leave a piece of my light with one of these women, I also take a piece of them into me. And some of those women that I messed with back then, they was a hot mess. They had a lot going on. And they had some darkness with them. Not all of them, but some of them did. And because I opened myself up to them, some of that darkness crept into me. So yeah, I might have been able to put some of my light into them, but the sacrifice was me allowing some of their darkness into me. And ladies, it's the same thing for you when you sleep around with all these different men, all these different guys. Every time you take a piece of one of them with you, and you leave a piece of you with each one of them. Think about that. Sex is it's intercourse. It's intimate. He enters you. And if y'all don't have that protection on, then y'all bodily fluids mix and change. Don't downplay it. For real, think about it. And a piece of what's in them is being transferred to you. And what's in you is being transferred to them. So yeah, you might do them a favor and give them a little bit of light, but they didn't do you no favor by giving you a little bit of darkness. Think about it. Okay? I'm not trying to scare you off from it, but we having a real talk. We grown folks here. Whatever your addiction is, you want to make sure that if you're going to be addicted to something that's working for you. Be addicted to going to work. You hear people that you hear it all the time that people are workaholics. They're workaholics. They work at work and they come home and they work. They're workaholics. Okay, that's not the best thing to be, but that's an addiction that's going to work for you. At the end of the day, you're going to have money in your bank. You're going to be successful. You're going to climb the ladder. You're going to be somebody because you're so busy working all the time. That's an example of an addiction that's working for you. If your addiction is not working for you, let it go. Let it go. I encourage you to let it go. If it's harming you mentally, physically, spiritually, if it's tearing your family apart, your loved ones apart, like an addiction to drugs does, like an addiction to prostitution does, like an addiction to gambling does, an addiction to sex can lead to all sorts of STDs. HIV is still out there, baby. I know it ain't as big as it was in the 80s and 90s, but it's still out there and it still kills. There's so much. There's drugs out here with all these with all these alphabets to them. There's stuff out here that I'm pretty sure I haven't even heard of yet. Every day is a new STD being created. All right? Protect yourself. Love yourself. Know that you're worthy of making the best choice that you absolutely can make for yourself. Your life is precious. You only get one. You only get one. How you going to use it? Let yourself be an example to people and not a warning. Let your life be an example to people and not a warning. Think about that. If you like what you hear, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for all notifications, like and share your boy videos. I am Mr. Dominique, a.k.a. the Scorpio King, saying peace and one love, baby. Your boy, is out.